Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and I've got a really great Border Maker cartridge technique that is used for what's called a punch out or a knockout style of Border Maker cartridge. Now, this style is one that the paper stays attached and just your design gets punched out. Okay, so it's not a chain style. It doesn't have an edge, but one that you can punch all the way across and your paper stays intact at the top and the bottom. If you're not sure if your punch is like that, then take a look at either the box or the cartridge itself. And I'm going to show you the box because it's easier to see, but that design is exactly the same that's on the front of the cartridge. I don't know if you could see it on the because of the silver, it sometimes doesn't show up. It's the same design that's on the front of the cartridge and on the top of the cartridge. And that's what's on the box. I'm going to show you the box because it's probably easier to see. But there is like a rectangle around the entire punch. And that means it's a knockout style or punch out style punch. It stays, everything stays connected. Okay, and we're going to punch this in a different style, and then we're going to be cutting triangles with it. So another style of punch may not work with this to try this. Okay, so this is an idea I had done a long time ago, and then on one of our team meetings, my friend Connie shared this, and I said, you know what? I haven't used that in a while, so let's use that again because I love the Cyclic Circles Border Maker cartridge. Okay, Cyclic Circles. Can't say that three times fast. That's going to be hard. And the reason I like it is because it is a design that you can use for a lot of things. It's not specific. I used it here for a football page, but I'm going to use it in my demonstration with pool because it kind of reminds me of bubbles. This would be great for sports. It would be great for kids. It's great for any event. I think it's one that you can use over and over again. It's a very um, generic type of a punch. And it's also bigger than some of the ones that we have. And I like that also because to me it gives a little bit more substance. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit of a different technique instead of punching all the way across and all the way down. All right, and then this is just wanted to show you the same, it's the same technique. And this is an older knockout style punch. This one is footprints. And I did this with various Creative Memories beach collections over the years, all the way back to vitamin C and coastal shores. So what I love about the Creative Memories products is that over the years, they just mix and match so effortlessly. And I always love to use one collection with another. Okay, so the footprints, the flip-flops, the curious crab, those are all ones that are stay attached and they are called knockout style or punch out style. Okay, so let's get started. This is what we're going to need. We're going to need two sheets for the background. All right, and I'm going to use my demonstration. I'm going to use poolside. So we're going to need two pieces for the background, okay? And then select papers that you're going to use for your punches. And this is how I kind of figure out my colors. And then I'm going to use something for my mats, and that's going to come from poolside. And so these are the three colors that I'm going to be using on my page. Okay, so I'm going to show you a double page spread because I love the way that this looks, this punch looks when you put the two pages together. And it almost makes it look like a huge arrow the way that the way that I've laid the mats down. Okay, so let's get started. Now we are going to be using our trimmer and our Border Maker system. And I'm going to be using the Border Maker in a little bit of a different way. Okay, so we need to do a double page spread. You need four 6x6 pieces. Okay, so whatever you're going to use for your 6x6s. So four 6x6s. And when I'm cutting cardstock, you know, I have just learned to now just double check it because every once in a while you'll get a little bit of an excess piece. And that's just the nature of cardstock. But I want them all to be even. So I'm going to make sure that they're all 6x6. Okay, now here comes the fun part with our Border Maker cartridge. Okay, so again, we're using a knockout or punch out style cartridge, one that is going to stay attached at the top and the bottom. And it is marked clearly on the front of the box in a rectangle, inside of a rectangle. And that design is on the front of the cartridge as well as the top of your cartridge. You may not be able to see it as well because silver sometimes reflects off my lights that I'm using to record. All right, I'm putting this into my cartridge holder. Okay, now, usually when we punch with our Border Maker system, we usually put the paper and we lift up this blue piece and we usually put the paper all the way to the top. But we're not going to do that with this particular one. I want you to take a look at your paper holder, so your Border Maker cartridge carriage. And I want you to come down one notch. You see there's a little notch sticking out. That's your first notch. Okay. And then that corresponds right across from it. When you look right across from it, where you line up the paper, there is a little line. Okay. The little line here, and you can see it in the front. And that corresponds with that little notch. Okay, I'm putting little post-it notes so that I don't forget because I automatically move my paper to the top. But for this technique to work, we have to put our paper one notch down. One notch down. So you see the little notch that's sticking out on the side. And it corresponds right across to that line. Okay, so I'm taking my 6x6. I'm opening my paper holder and I am inserting this at the, you see, I'm inserting it at the notch and it's lining up to that line. So we are not going all the way to the top. Okay, flip your guide back. And now we're going to put our cartridge in on the second punch. So the second notch. Okay, and we're going to punch out on 2 and 3 and not on 4. Not on 1, not on 4, but on 2 and 3. Okay, so if you're not sure, just put your punch in where we usually go. That's 1. We're not punching that. Move it down to 2. Position 2. Punch. move it down to position 3 and punch. Okay, so we only punched position 2 and position 3. All right, open our paper guide again. Take your paper and turn it. Insert it at the notch. Position 1, insert it at your notch, your first notch. Okay, let's put our cartridge in. Skip 1, go down to 2 and punch. Go down to 3 and punch. Okay, skip number 4. Open our paper guide again. We're going to take our paper, our 6x6, and turn it again. Insert it at the notch. Okay, insert it at the notch, not at the top. All right, let's put our cartridge in. Skip number 1, position 2 and punch, position 3 and punch. Okay, open our arm again. Lift up your paper holder, turn your paper again, and line it up at the notch. Flip back the paper guide, put your cartridge in, skip number 1, punch at position 2, punch at position 3, and that's it. Okay. This is why it's important to have one that stays attached, because this is what we have. And if you wanted to do a wonderful page with this, you actually could. And this would take a 3 3/4 or 3.5 by 3.5 photo. You could also do something that goes like that. All right, we're going to do one more. All right, and then in the interest of time, I've already pre-cut my other ones. Okay, so we're taking our 6x6. We're starting with a brand new 6x6 square. We are inserting it at the notch. Insert at the notch. Push your paper guide back. Cartridge in. Skip 1. Punch at 2. Punch at 3. Skip number 4. Look at all these wonderful dots and confetti that you get out of this cyclic circles. I love those. These little feet, they're great for little turkey feet. We're coming into that time of year. Anyway, all right. Turn your paper again, insert at the notch. Oh, my little Post-it note's coming out. Insert at the notch. Fold back your paper guide. Skip 1, punch at 2, punch at 3. Okay, turn your paper again. Insert at the notch. Fold back your guide. Skip 1, punch at 2, punch at 3. Skip 4. Okay, open your guide again, turn your paper, punch at the notch. Insert your paper at the notch. Okay, flip it back. Skip 1, punch at 2, punch at 3. Okay. So there we go. Now you can save all of this little confetti if you like. I do sometimes tend to save the stars. These circles are actually great for bubbles and things like that. Okay, now and if you're going to make a double page spread, you need to do 2 more of these. Okay, our next step is taking that square, and we're going to be using our 12-inch trimmer, and we are going to turn our square so that it becomes a diamond. We're turning our square to a diamond. We're putting it on the line here, the 45-degree angle that's on your trimmer. There is a line there, that's a 45-degree angle. And we're lining the tip, the top tip and the bottom tip on your cutting line. Your cutting line is the line that's next to the number. Don't know if you could see this, mine is number 4. And when you get to the point where you can no longer see the cutting line, it's time to get a new, either move your mat strip around or it's time to get a new mat strip. I'm at the point where I pretty much need a new mat strip. Okay, so I am lining my tip, top of the tip, bottom of the tip, all right, and on the 45-degree angle. Hold it down and see how precise those corners are. Okay, and you're going to do this to all your 4 squares. Start as a square, turn it so that it becomes a diamond. Line the side up on your 45-degree angle. Put your tip, your top tip on the cut line, your bottom tip on the cut line. Hold it down and cut through. Okay, so you see how you needed one that was connected. If you had used a different one, it may have cut through your design. Okay, so if you're going to do a double page spread, you need 4 6x6s, and you need to to punch them all and then do your diamond cuts, triangle cuts. Okay, now I'm going to just place these. This is how it's going to be placed. And then I'm going to use my repositionable tape. Now that I'm using the blue and white, this would be a cute one for a baby boy. Oh my gosh, how adorable would that be? So I'm using my repositionable tape on my silicone mat, and the repositionable tape comes out in little micro dots and only sticks to where there is paper. Okay. And these are going to line up right at your 4 corners. So when I first started scrapbooking, oh my gosh, over 25 years ago, it was all about triangles in the corners. So this kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but look how far we've come with a beautiful design on those triangles. Everything goes around, right? Okay, so I am just taping them exactly on my 4 corners. And because you cut them so precisely, it is going to make your design. And I'm using my repo tape to go all the way to the points because I don't like my corner points to slide. I don't want them to lift up. And with the repositionable tape, it's perfect with how well it goes around to the edges, the very tips of the triangles, and it goes all the way to the edges, so it's very secure. And I'm alternating between my repositionable tape and I'm putting my regular tape on the bigger portions of it. I'm just going to flip this so I can get a better angle. So this is a great way to use a punch in a different way. Okay, and like I said, it was an idea I had done a long time ago, and then my friend Connie Skaggs, those some of you may know her. She's another advisor and on the bigger overall team that I belong to, and she was talking about this the other day, and I thought I haven't taught this in a long time, so it was time. Okay, so there you have the base of your 2 pages. Isn't that amazing? And when you put them together, if you're doing a double page spread, I mean, it really looks great. I like to do a contrast for a mat, and that just sets the tone and gives me the ability to figure out what I'm going to do with the inside, whether I'm going to use it as you know, a focal point, or if I'm going to put a smaller picture on it. And the mats that I recommend for this are 4.5 by 4.5, 4.5 by 4.5. And that way you can really put a nice 4 by 4 photo and still have a nice border around your pictures. Okay, so if you're doing a double page spread, you will need 8 of those, and that's 4.5 by 4.5. Okay, so these happen to be scraps that I had. Let me make sure this is 9 inches, and it is. This was left over from a poolside class that I had done. 4.5 by 4.5. And I'm just going to double check the bottom. Off just a teens. Okay, and I'm going to cut the next group 4.5 by 4.5. And for double page spread, you will need 8 of them. And I'm going to show you a really cool technique on how to lay these mats so that you will get them nice and even. Okay, so this is what I want it to look like. Okay, and I'm going to show you the trick now on how to line that up. So I'm going to take my little arrows from I'm going to take the arrows off of my Border Maker cartridge, and I'm going to put the arrows on my mat. And I want to put this at 6.25. Well, it's 5.75 down from the top. Okay, so it's 1/4 of an inch up from the 6-inch mark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it 1/4 of an inch up from the 6-inch mark, and 1/4 of an inch for the bottom layer, 1/4 of an inch below the 6-inch mark to give me a nice 1/2 inch opening all the way around. So using our ruler, okay, and now this is a good time to do that little trick. Put just a little bit of repo tape at just a little dab of repo tape at the top of your 13 by 13 cutting mat, just to keep it nice and even. Okay, and then you just wipe it off with your finger later. This way it keeps it from moving and shifting because we're going to need an exact number. Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to do the first two up above. I'm placing my ruler a 1/4 of an inch above the 6-inch line. A 1/4 of an inch above the 6-inch line, side to side. Okay, and I'm putting my ruler straight across, okay? And now I'm going to be putting tape on my bases. And that 1/4 inch is what we're going to be using as our marker. All right, so we're a 1/4 of an inch up. I'm going to hold down my ruler, and now I'm going to go a 1/4 of an inch to the right of the 6-inch and a 1/4 of an inch to the left of the 6-inch. Okay, 1/4 of an inch to the right of the 6-inch. And all you have to do is just hold on your ruler and just let your paper fall right at the top of your ruler. Okay, and I'm going to do that on the other side. 1/4 of an inch to the left of the 6-inch mark. Okay. Now I'm going to do the bottom. So what I have to do now is turn my ruler around, have it at a 1/4 of an inch down from the 6-inch mark. And the reason I have it down is so that I could see my ruler. Okay, so your ruler is centered at the 6-inch mark from the top and bottom, but you are a 1/4 of an inch down from the 6-inch mark in the middle. Hold down your ruler, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to gently guide my paper a 1/4 of an inch up and let it stop at the ruler. And the other side, hold down my ruler, 1/4 of an inch up, and then just gently let the paper lay. Okay, and that's how you get it nice and straight. All right, I'm going to do it on the other side again. This time I'm going to put tape on all of these at one time. And then that way, oops, we'll go a little faster. Okay, I'm taking my ruler, I'm putting it at the 6-inch mark and then moving it to a 1/4 of an inch above the 6-inch mark, with your ruler being centered on your page. Okay, 1/4 of an inch up from side to side. Hold down your ruler, take your mat, and just gently let your paper lay at a 1/4 of an inch to the right of the 6-inch mark. And then your other mat, just gently have it go to a 1/4 of an inch to the left of the 6-inch mark. Okay. Now take your ruler, turn it around so that the markings are facing you. Line it up, 1/4 of an inch down, side to side. Hold your ruler and just 1/4 of an inch to the right. And now 1/4 of an inch to the left. Awesome. Okay, and that is how you get them pretty straight. Okay, and now all I have to do is I'm going to just put a a nice little piece in the middle here with a title, and then my page will be complete. So it's a fun page to do. It's a great double page spread. And it's one that you can use over and over again. And it's a different way to use your punch out style border maker cartridge. Okay, punch out or knockout style border maker cartridge. Okay, so I hope that you have enjoyed um, this fun technique, and I hope to see you again soon. Let me know which one in the comments, which one you like better. Do you like the poolside paradise? Do you like the barefoot on the beach? Or do you like the football page? Exact same technique, but it could look different 3 different ways. If you're not currently working with a Creative Memories advisor, I'd appreciate it if you order from my website. If you'd like to join a Creative Memories team, please join me in my national team. My information is in the comment section, and I hope to see you again at a future Zoom. I have a lot of techniques on my YouTube channel, Bev DeBono Designs. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.